Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode on this channel. Today, we're getting to know Andrew Bucci, a fellow young Republican here in the state of Pennsylvania. Andrew is running for Hermitage City Commissioner, and in this episode, he'll share his vision, priorities, and why he's passionate about serving his community. Andrew, I want to thank you for being my first guest of this year and this election cycle. I'm really happy to bring you on.
I'm honored to be number one.
Great. So, before, I ask why you're running, just explain to the viewers what exactly does a commissioner for the city of Hermitage do, and why is this such an important position?
Yeah, absolutely. So, city commissioners are tasked with economic development, rezoning, making sure our ordinances are people are following our ordinances. So it's like your city council, just with a fancier title, just ensuring that the city's operations day in and day out are operating well while bringing new people into Hermitage and new businesses and ensuring that everybody has the opportunity to call Hermitage home.
Nice. So, well, how come you are running for this position now?
Yeah, you mentioned it in the beginning, Alex. I'm a fellow young Republican. Um, you would know, and I know we have a lot of friends that would notice that our generation is next in line to take the reins of government. I believe it is extremely crucial for young people to get involved because currently the decisions being made in local government, state government, and federal government, in my case, in local government, is going to directly impact my generation the most. And I believe if you are going to be making decisions for a new and younger generation and a new and younger workforce, you need somebody part of that generation helping make those decisions.
That's definitely a great point. I say that all the time. Local politics, state, city, that affects you the most compared to the president. We get hung up so much on the president
Yeah.
who's running for Senate. I mean, Senate, of course, should be a big thing, but mainly the president we're so hung up on. Of course, we're last year the big election, but it's really this city commissioners, the mayor, your local tax collector. I mean, these are people that are directly affecting your life, the school board. So I just also want to thank you for running for this position, being a young Republican, because if young Republicans want to change this direction for politics, it starts here, right? They
Yeah,
can't shoot for
absolutely.
the moon right away and want to be, U.S. senator, want to be president. They got to start local, making good decisions here and taking their time with it. Don't rush it. You're making a very good decision right now running for commissioner because you are
Yeah.
passionate about the area, you're passionate about the city, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. You know, I have a saying I like to tell people: the number one way you change the world is one municipality at a time.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing right now in Hermitage. I have some pretty big ideas, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of those
Right.
here pretty soon.
Good. So, what is your background in politics and why should someone trust you to make these types of decisions?
Yeah, I'm young. I'm 21. And you may, and I can already say this that there have been some voters I've met. Why should we trust a 21-year-old with our tax dollars?
Yeah.
Well, they already have. At 18, I was elected to the Hermitage School Board. And there we dealt with property tax hikes. I never voted to raise property tax in the city of Hermitage. I just don't feel that just because a government entity can raise taxes, we should be doing that. I believe that because a single parent in our district may have to accommodate to certain economic struggles, so should the school district, and we shouldn't make that harder on anybody else. But back to the point that I think with my experience, I've had a lot of outside experience. I worked with the NRCC. I work now with Congressman Ryan McKenzie. We flipped a congressional seat that many people didn't think was possible. I worked in animal welfare nonprofits, and currently I work in the supply chain logistics world. So I have a lot of real world experience. I'm not just some 21-year-old kid who's getting out of college who just wants to run for something. I've seen how the world operates, and I had to grow up pretty quick in my life. And I want to give back to a community that has given me so much. So I want to take my love for Hermitage and my personal and professional experience and implement that into a city commissioner role.
Great. So, now that you're starting your campaign, now that you made this decision, what are your top three issues that you'd like to campaign on? What are you really trying to get to that voter?
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now in Hermitage, one of the biggest issues we have is housing. I believe that we need to do everything in our power to ensure that we are making more affordable homes. And I'm not talking government Section 8 housing. I really want to emphasize that. I'm talking 125 to $150,000 condominium units that 24 to 32-year-olds can afford. Right now, the current average home price in Hermitage is around $203,000. That is outrageous. You and I could never afford that just coming out of college. So we need to do everything in our power to ensure that we are building homes that young people can come and buy so they can be integrated into our workforce. I have a big plan on doing with that. I have a big plan while doing that, and that is working with developers, offering them tax incentives, rezoning certain sections in our city, because that's the number one thing developers get annoyed with: zoning laws in municipalities.
Yeah.
So instead of telling businesses and developers that are coming here in the Hermitage what they need to do, our number one thing we should be telling them is, how can we help? And with that comes into point number two. I want to completely eliminate our business license tax here. It's $200 a year. For what? They get nothing back for that, just to operate a business license tax. I just don't think that's very friendly to businesses. $200 a year for some businesses may be nothing, but that's $200 more you can spend on Facebook marketing ads to get
Right.
more money coming into your business. And number three, I think we really need to work on getting more businesses here that you can build a career in. I'm all for. We have a $100 million investment coming into Hermitage right now that involves a Chick-fil-A and some other national restaurants and some retailers. I'm all for that. However, I also think we need to start talking with developers and talking with companies about getting sustainable jobs here that we can make a career out of. I don't want to work at Chick-fil-A for the rest of my life. I don't work there now, but whenever I worked in high school, I worked at KFC throughout high school. I didn't want to work at KFC for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I believe that we need companies coming into Hermitage that you can hire an HR person, you can hire a salesperson, you can hire an ops person, you can hire all these people and have a sustainable business here in Hermitage. I would love a software development company in Hermitage. That's a big dream personally.
Right. So, the three things that you just mentioned, they're really that perfect example of how local government affects you more directly, right?
Mhm.
The housing situation I could relate to totally. Last year, I bought my first apartment. Well, yeah, I rented out my first apartment, signed a lease because I got a new job in the area about an hour away from my hometown, had to move. And, every year, every month, I'm paying a lot of money to go to someone else. I want to be
Mhm.
paying money to go something that I own, right? But I can't do
Totally.
that at this age, right? I talked to my dad. He was 19 years old. He bought a nice house, nice little house for about 15 grand, right? When he was
I
young,
wish. Yeah.
15 grand, right? And then sold it for, you know, quadruple the price, right? That's
Mhm.
what I'm trying to,
Yeah.
that's why I want to get back to, right? Of course, houses are around the same price around my area, $300,000 for a house that is not worth $300,000 when you look at it. That's definitely a
Yeah.
big issue is the housing issue, right?
Yeah.
You want to enforce people to buy, take ownership of it, and really value what they own. Um,
Yeah.
and of course, your emphasis on businesses is very true as well. I don't know Hermitage as well as much, right? I'm about 3 hours away living in Snyder County, but once
Mhm.
again, perfect example of affecting the actual people in that area. So, they're definitely very solid three issues that are new as well, right? Not the typical political issues that people continue with. Stuff
Yeah.
that's very specific, which I like to hear from you.
Yeah. No, I think the number one thing that local government needs to start doing is trying.
Yeah.
I think a lot of local governments, and this is no hit to my local government now, I actually relatively have a good relationship with a lot of our city commissioners and a lot of elected officials in my area. However, I think we need to start trying more.
Yeah.
I think we need to start thinking outside of the box. And Alex, it may not work. This could be the worst plan ever. I could be like, what's his name on Parks and Recreation and build an indoor skating rink in Ice Town, I think it was. But it could not work, but we need to try. And
Right.
I believe if we do try, it will work. But
Right.
that's the number one thing. We need to try.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that you're motivated to do that. And one thing that I very value in politicians, and I would like to do if I was to ever run for a local office, is really engage with the community. Where I live, the community engagement between the citizen and the borough is not the best. And I feel like that's how it always was. I never lived in a big city. I always lived in small communities, 5,000 residents or less. So my question to you is, how do you plan to engage with community and ensure that residents, their voices are heard, in big city decisions?
Yeah, two ways. Number one, I plan on issuing an e-newsletter every single month detailing why I voted this way, what this vote means for you, and what upcoming votes could also affect you.
Well,
Outlining when our meetings officially are. You can go onto the city website now, but you have to go through 400 links just to figure out when a meeting is.
yeah.
I want it going straight to the emails of our residents, informing them why I voted this way and how it affects you. And number two, we now live in a digital world. Social media is one of the greatest assets I think any politician can currently use. And I don't like using the word politician. I think I'm a servant of the people. But I think social media is the number one way we can connect with residents in the city of Hermitage and beyond, because that way it's coming straight to your cell phones. I don't know the percent right now, but I know it's gone up over the years, the amount of people and the amount of time that we spend on social media now.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I enjoy scrolling on X. It's
Yeah.
a very fun app. So I know for me personally, I would see more information about, I don't know, we'll just say the current president, vice president, they're engaging with Americans on social media. So I think we really got to use the tools that we have been gifted with social media and email to directly talk to our residents. And we have to invite them to these meetings. We
Right.
need to we need to tell them how much local government affects them, because I truly believe that not a lot of people understand that. And by using my e-newsletter idea and social media, I think we can do that.
Well, that's good that you're making that decision. I'm glad to also hear that you're on the same page as me. It's very relatable to where I live as well. If I want to go on to the borough website and just catch the minutes, right? Catch, what the actual meeting was about, they don't even have a poster for about a week or two. That shouldn't
Yeah,
be happening. It should be posted the next day at least, the next business day at least. People should be updated with what's happening, especially with small areas. There's not many local journalism, so you can't rely on, what was talked about. You can't, learn right away if a big tax hike was introduced. You know what I mean? So it's very important that the citizens know what is going on so they can benefit and they can make the most out of, the people they elected, the people that they
a
should vote to
government
make a
for the
decision.
people and by the people.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing with social media as well, it's one of the best, worst things to ever be created. I love social
Yes,
media.
I
I'm very,
agree.
I'm very involved with it. I got my degree in communications, sports media. Could be useless, could be not, but the thing is, I was passionate about it, and I make the
Yeah,
most out of it. So, social media is a very good thing in this age. We got to take advantage of it, and use it right, but don't
absolutely. I agree,
don't go too
100%.
far. The last question I have for you. I want to thank you again for your time. If
Thank you.
elected, how will you work with other commissioners and local leaders to accomplish your goals, specifically outside, not outside, but across the aisle?
Yeah. So right now, the Hermitage City Board of Commissioners is majority Democrat. And to be quite honest with you, whenever it comes to local politics, I don't care if you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican. I do care if you're a communist, though. I don't want that. But no, I think that it's bigger than politics. And I think if we have a unifying thing behind us, and which I do believe all of my opponents and the current commissioners do have, and that is love for community, we can get a lot of things done.
Right.
So yeah, we're not going to always see eye to eye. We're not always going to vote together. However, we always need to remember why we are running for office. It's not for me. It's not for my family to get a special thing. It's because the people deserve good young leadership and results that benefit their community directly.
Right.
So that is going to be the number one way I'm going to reach across the aisle. That's how I'm going to reach other municipalities. I think with local government, you need to have public cooperation between municipalities to ensure that your municipality is succeeding. Because whenever our neighbor Sharon succeeds, we succeed. Whenever Sharpsville succeeds, we succeed. So we need to ensure that we are talking with everybody possible in remembering the number one thing that brings us together, and that is love for community.
The good thing about local politics is, politics aren't the big idea, right? It's not the political ideas aren't that big of an issue at that point. It's mainly for the greater good of the people, greater good for the city. You're running
Yes.
because you generally love the city. It's not what we're seeing in the U.S. House when they're arguing over the dumbest stuff. The Senate, local politics. It's more focused, right? They're more professional. I feel like when it comes to just simply for the city. So it's a good thing to know with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Andrew, I want to thank you very much for coming on. You showed a lot of good ideas, which I'm sure the people of Hermitage would definitely use you. Definitely be grateful to, have a guy like you represent them. I wish you really the best of luck with your campaign, and I'm really excited to see your name be called in November.
I appreciate it, Alex. Keep up all the good work on your end, encouraging all the young people, Republicans, Democrats, hopefully more Republicans, get involved in local politics.
Thank you, everybody.